She looked at me and whispered, "I ruined your life." So I gave her the divorce papers, told her mom everything, and blocked her after her ex ditched her too. I'm 34 now, and 3 years ago, I truly believed I had married the love of my life. That first year together felt like something out of a dream. Those late-night conversations where it felt like time didn't exist, laughing over silly jokes as we cooked dinner side by side, her hand finding mine just because. I used to look at her and feel this deep, calming peace in my chest, like no matter what life threw at us, I'd be okay, because she was with me. I worked hard, harder than I ever had before, because I wanted to give her everything, not just as a provider, but as someone fully invested in building a future. I was putting in nearly $5,000 a month on vacations, designer brands, all the creature comforts of home. Not because she ever explicitly asked, but because I thought that's what love looked like. Giving someone security, joy, and consistency. That's what building something real was supposed to be. At least that's what I believed. But about 6 months ago, little cracks started forming. At first, I chalked it up to stress or routine. Life gets busy. She'd get home later than usual. My jokes that used to make her laugh now landed with silence or a half-hearted smile. Her phone, once left carelessly on the couch or nightstand, was now always face down or gripped tightly in her hand. Her moods became unpredictable, her answers to basic questions laced with suspicion or dismissal. Out. Why are you so controlling? I'm not doing anything wrong. It got to the point where I almost convinced myself maybe I was being paranoid. But deep down, I knew something had shifted, something I couldn't ignore. One night, unable to sleep, I did something I'd never done before. I checked her location. She'd told me she was out meeting an old friend, but her pin showed she was across town, a part of the city I knew too well. Her ex lived there. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding, the truth settling like cement in my chest. Still, I didn't drive over. I waited. When she walked in after midnight, she didn't say a word, just went straight to the shower. And in that moment, everything connected. The emotional distance, the sudden fights, the defensiveness. She was seeing him, the same guy who had left her broken before I ever entered the picture. I didn't confront her. I didn't yell. I just sat in that silence, feeling more alone than I ever had before. And the woman who had once been my peace was now a stranger in the next room. What hurt most wasn't just the infidelity. It was realizing I was her fallback, her safe option. The man who paid the bills and kept the lights on while she gave her heart and body to someone else. So I began to gather proof, not out of revenge, but out of clarity. I needed to be sure, and I found everything. The messages, the pictures, the call logs. It wasn't a one-off mistake. This had been going on for months. And worse, she no longer cared enough to even hide it. Maybe she thought I'd be too soft, too spineless, too in love to ever leave. But she underestimated me. A few nights later, I cooked dinner. Nothing extravagant, just pasta and garlic bread. She barely looked up from her phone the entire time. When she finally did, I calmly slid a manila envelope across the table. She blinked, confused, then opened it. Divorce papers. Her eyes scanned the document slowly, her face unreadable. Then she whispered words I'll never forget. I destroyed your life. Not, I'm sorry. Not, can we talk? Just that, like an outsider describing someone else's tragedy. I met her eyes and said nothing at first. Just waited. You don't really mean this, she said, her voice shaky. I do, I replied, cool and steady. I loved you. I gave you everything. You chose him. That was your decision. Now this is mine. She stood slowly, grabbed her purse, and walked out.
No επάλεγε. No tears.
Just silence. But the night wasn't over. An hour later, I was still at the kitchen table, staring at the half-eaten plate of pasta. I didn't cry. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't even angry. I just felt done. Hollow, but in a clean, final way. That was when the doorbell rang. Nearly midnight. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, it was her mother, fuming. She didn't even let me speak before barging in. Her voice was raised, her tone full of disbelief. How could you do this to her? Divorce papers? Are you out of your mind? I didn't say a word. I let her rant. She's your wife. She stood by you through everything. And now you're tossing her out? You have no proof. You don't just ruin someone's life based on a hunch. I could have fired back with a dozen things. But instead, I calmly walked to the living room, opened a drawer, and pulled out a folder I had prepared days ago. I handed it to her. Inside, the receipts, screenshots of texts, photos she had sent him, messages dripping with intimacy and nostalgia. One picture in particular caught her off guard. Her daughter in lingerie, sending a mirror selfie captioned, "Bet you never forgot this." Her mother's face paled as she flipped the pages. Her fingers slowed. Her mouth parted in disbelief. This can't be real," she mumbled. "It is," I said. "This has been going on for months. While I paid for her lifestyle, she gave herself to the man who discarded her once already. Still, she tried to defend her. My daughter isn't like this. Maybe it was just flirting. Maybe," I interrupted. "I know it's hard to accept, but it wasn't just flirting. It was emotional. It was physical. It was consistent. Your daughter made her choices. I'm simply refusing to be a part of them anymore." That shut her down. She looked at me not with apology or even shame, but confusion. Like she couldn't comprehend why I didn't just let her daughter get away with it. "I think you should leave now," I said, holding the door open. She didn't argue. She left, muttering something about not knowing who to believe. I locked the door, not out of fear but for closure. That night, for the first time in months, the silence in my home didn't feel suffocating. Felt like peace. But it still wasn't over. At around 2 a.m., my phone started buzzing. Her name lit up on the screen. I didn't answer. It rang again, and again. On the fifth call, I picked up. Her voice was quiet, soft. "I messed up," she said. I stayed silent. "I did something awful. I feel so guilty. Please, don't leave me. I love you." That last word, love, felt like a cruel joke. I leaned back in the chair and listened as she said everything I had longed to hear months ago. That she missed me. That no one had ever treated her better. That she admired me for having the strength to walk away. But I knew the truth. He had used her again just like before. Took what he wanted and vanished. And now that she was left with nothing, she remembered I existed. I had never been her first choice. I was just the fallback plan. The man who paid the bills and stayed loyal. And now that her choices had caught up with her, she wanted the safety net back. "I know I hurt you," she continued, "but I swear it didn't mean anything. It was a mistake. I thought I loved him, but it wasn't real. He just used me. Please don't hang up. I need you." I paused, then finally spoke. "You knew exactly what you were doing every time you texted him. Every time you lied to me. Every night you came home and looked me in the eye. That wasn't a mistake. That was a choice." She tried to speak, but I didn't let her. "I was never good enough for you when you thought you had someone better. Now that he's gone, you come crawling back to the man who gave you everything. That's not love. That's convenience." Silence. I could hear her breathing, maybe crying, maybe not. "I'm not angry," I added, "but I'm not stupid. You made your decision. Now you live with it. I'm done." She said something. Maybe, "I'm sorry," maybe "please." I honestly don't remember. I hung up. No drawn-out goodbye. Just the end. Clean and final. The next morning, she sent a long message saying she understood. That she hated herself for what she did. That she'd do anything to make it right. I didn't reply. I haven't since. It's been months now. I've blocked her number. I've moved on. I don't want revenge. I don't want her to suffer. But I will not rescue someone who would so willingly destroy me just to chase a fantasy. Sometimes karma doesn't need any help. It handles things on its own. She thought I'd always be there. That my loyalty would be her shield no matter how reckless she got. But she was wrong. I left, and I've never looked back.